What's up guys, welcome to Supercars of London and welcome to a 2018 BMW M2 Competition that has just arrived on my driveway. For the next 7 days, BMW UK have let me loose in their press car, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and put as many miles on this thing as possible because it has got a huge hype. I've got a friend of mine that has one of these on order in pretty much the exact same spec. I didn't experience Tony's in the best of conditions. I drove it for about 10 miles. It was wet, it was damp, not the best conditions. And Tony showed me everything that he didn't like about it, which was mainly the interior. He said the car was pretty much a perfect driving machine. As BMW say, they build the ultimate driving machines. So let's kick things off with what I have found in the day or so that I've had this car so far. I'm going to relay everything that I feel about this thing back to you, and we found some pretty epic roads that we're going to take this thing on, and then we're going to get to grips with what it's like to drive. You may know from other YouTubers that have filmed this car, but I feel like I've done a lot of miles in my M3 and other M products that I might be able to find things that haven't been found before. Inside is where BMW have tried to do a few things, and whilst there are a few things that are different, it's mainly just the dials. So I'll sit in. Excuse the McDonald's and sweets. The dials are different. It's kind of like a digital display. It's nice that it says M2 Competition there. The steering wheel is exactly the same. The center console, exactly the same. And then this screen, I think, has just got the updated BMW software. But the difference between an original M2 and the M2 Competition is you can change the engine modes from Comfort Sport, Sport Plus, and also the steering Comfort Sport, Sport Plus, which you cannot do in the original M2, which is a nice touch, and it gives it a little bit more customizable feel to it. But the two things that I'm really missing from this car that you get on the M3s, the M4s and upwards is heads-up display. I didn't realize how much I look at my exact speed when I'm driving other cars, but because we've only got the dials here, it's a little bit like guesswork. Now you can change the screen in between the revs and the speedo so that you can have the exact speed that you're doing by flicking the button here, but you only can cycle through one piece of information or statistic at a time, which is a little bit minimalistic, and I kind of like my information. So that's not a good thing. The other not good thing about this car at the moment that I found is the sound. Yes, we've got a rev limiter, but even for a detuned M3, M4 engine, the exhaust tone on this sounds even flatter, and that isn't the best engine tone that you have in a car, period. The actual standard original M2 I felt was a much smoother, nicer sounding tone that you get from the exhaust. So kind of come to thinking of, why not just remap the original M2, get the additional power, and then you've got yourself a faster version of the M2 that sounds better. But let's go and work out what the driving dynamics are like, and I've got Danny with me because his brother-in-law just bought an original M2, so this should be quite an interesting comparison. Danny, welcome back to the channel.
Thank you.
It's been a while. I think last time was what, DB11 AMR in London?
It
maybe?
was, yeah, that was the last time.
And I actually cut your conversation short off camera so that you can relay it on camera because I think this is actually quite a cool analogy to put the M2 Competition in, so take it away.
Well, so as I was saying to you, in this kind of modern society, you have something like the iPhone.
Yeah.
Now, we all know the iPhone, they bring out the S version as they used to, the iPhone 5, then they had the iPhone 5S, and they bring out kind of new models all the time, and they're never really too different.
Can I say the XS is the worst upgrade?
Worst upgrade, yeah, a slightly bigger screen, and oh yeah, we got this and that. But no, so in terms of the car industry, the manufacturers, they bring out new cars like, say, the iPhone. They have a few technical changes. They put some fancy wing mirrors on this competition pack, and then they say it's a different car.
Yeah.
And
you feel that we are forced as a society to
I feel like there's an
go for
element
the
of
new car.
I feel like there's an element of pressure on people. You know, this goes not just on cars, but anything. You know, clothes, you know, shoes. Look at how Yeezys took off, etc. You know, all those type of things. It's like a statement.
Yeah.
And in the car world, you feel like you know, especially from the dealerships, they ask you to chip in your car, trade it in, get the newest and latest and greatest. And there is an element of pressure on people to have the newest, best car.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean there's too much difference, but they are sold on this idea that it's fantastically better.
The new thing.
The new thing. Yeah. And
I think in some cases there are reasons why you would buy an M2 Competition, but I don't think it's you've got an M2 and you're looking to upgrade it. Do you know what I mean? I think you're jumping ship from an Audi or a Mercedes and you want something different because I'm going to be honest, this at low and medium speeds, even when I'm pushing on, could just be a worse sounding normal M2.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
410 brake horsepower.
Yeah.
The steering is perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect in the M2.
Yeah.
So they didn't need to change it. The look of the front is obviously where you recognise it as an M2 Competition with the Hockenheim Silver. You're like, oh, that's the new one.
That's it.
And you get excited about it.
Yeah.
And having driven this now for 24 hours, there is no denying this is a phenomenal car.
It's a great car.
But so is the M2.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of back-to-back M2 versus M3, M4, that type of thing. I've driven every variant of the M series apart from a 1M.
Yeah.
So I feel like I know my way around them. I loved my M3. The chassis balance with the engine, the gearbox and the steering meant that it created an unbelievable car. And in the same way, we've got that perfect chassis, incredible steering, the same engine, just slightly detuned as an M3 in this car. With a slightly shorter wheelbase, it's a little bit more snappy.
Yeah.
But the way the BMW have engineered the power delivery is a lot more linear and progressive, meaning that it's not as, what's the word? Spiky. It's not as spiky as the M3s and the M4s.
Yeah, one of the core elements to the M2, the standard M2, is the engine.
Yeah.
How good it was and how good the sound was. But this sounds just like a slightly less noisy M3.
Don't get me wrong, it
sounds great.
It's bloody fast as well.
It does sound, you know, it sounds good. It's not like it's a terrible sound, but the M2 sounded better.
Yeah.
It's just plain and simple.
And this at 55 grand, you start looking at what you can buy new for that sort of price. And what, a Porsche Cayman or a TTRS.
Yeah.
You can buy an RS3 sedan for that sort of money.
Exactly.
And that's a direct rival to this.
It is, yeah.
And the RS3 sounds better.
It does, a lot better.
Got a better interior as well.
Yeah.
I really want to put an M3 Competition
against this?
Next to an M2 Competition on finance.
I see, so the financials.
So I want to go on Magnitude Finance website. So Magnitude Finance have a finance calculator. So you can type in any car, what your deposit is, how many months that you want to spend it over, and then you get finance quotes on that car based on the current interest rates.
Yeah.
But I might go and find an M3 Competition and put it to one of these.
And how much better would you say, because you've driven the M3 Competition, how much better would you say that is than this?
Well, it's a personal preference, but because you get more power and a more free exhaust system, because this has got the OPF filters on, which make it sound rubbish. Plus it's got a slightly longer wheelbase. Plus it's got 4 doors. It's got a bigger boot. So you get a bigger car, more flared wheel arches. I think the M3 Competition looks a little bit more aggressive than one of these.
It does. It looks really good.
I would be inclined to go with an M3 Competition over one of these.
Over one of these. Interesting.
That's just my first impressions on this car. I'm not saying this is not a bad car.
No.
Because
it is a good car.
Bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
But I kind of don't see the point in it.
The value. It's the value.
It's too close to the M3 and M4s.
Yeah.
And too expensive to compete with used M2s.
Yeah.
You don't get heads-up display. You get very minimal information here. It is quite a basic car, even though it seems like it's got a lot of stuff to it.
Yeah.
It is quite basic.
But it's like you said off camera earlier, you're better off with an M2 and tune it to one of these.
Yeah.
It's certainly not slow.
It is fast.
It's not slow. Let's make that very clear.
Yeah.
It's not slow at all.
You would have a lot of fun driving this car. If I had the opportunity, if I had 50 grand to spend on my next daily, which I don't, if I did, then I would probably buy an M2 and save the money.
Yeah.
Because I think they sound better.
Yeah.
I think you can rev the engine out more and you don't feel like you're
can rev it out
short-shifting.
way more.
This feels like you're short shifting a bit.
Yeah.
So I'd tune it, I'd make it sound a little bit more fruity. I'd maybe put some cool wheels similar to this maybe.
Yeah, they're very cool wheels.
Just wrap it satin black.
And yet you'd probably
save myself 20 grand.
Easily.
Yeah. You can't beat BMW steering. I haven't found a car that does steering better than the BMW. And to be honest, when you start flicking with traction, start turning it off, I haven't found a better balanced car than a BMW M. They are phenomenal. So I want to end this interesting chat and insight by saying BMW have built a fantastically kind of pointless car.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. It's the best way to put it.
But it is so cool. And whoever has an M2 or an M2 competition, then you've got yourself a bloody good car. I just want to see what they're going to do next. Because I think there is going to be something next.
What replaces this will be very good.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure they're going to do like even a more hardcore M2.
But then how will they make it too different to this?
Well, that's what I mean. They've held back the interior.
They have.
They'll put the new interior in it.
Of course, they might go virtual cockpit, full virtual cockpit.
Who knows? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. I'm now going to go and do some research, try and find a BMW M3 competition to put this head-to-head with, because I want to get financed. No, that is not a good phrase. I want to know the monthly payments. I just do. I'm interested. I don't even know how much this would be a month. Brand new BMW, but Magnitude Finance can help. Look at this little sweeping bit of the road.
Grips.
My brakes are
Fantastic. Wow. That's a good bit of road.
Your rucksack.
It just took a holiday.
Yeah, no, this car is bloody epic. I will see you soon, guys. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the next M2 video when I put it head-to-head with an M3 competition. Gotta do that. Cheers, guys. See you later.